Hi folks, Speedway Tag here with a review of Banned Books, which is an older game from the Button Shy wallet game line, which most of you I'm sure are very familiar with and love. I absolutely adore Button Shy's games and their approach to game design, and this one is actually designed by Jason Tagmire himself, who heads up Button Shy Games. This one came out in 2018, I think. These are my other Button Shy games that I've got. Obviously, not everything, but a decent collection, and I love every single one of those. And eventually I'll get to a review of all of them. Next will probably be Antinomy, because that's probably my second favorite Button Shy game. This one is my very favorite Button Shy game. Banned Books. These games come in a little wallet like that. You can absolutely take them anywhere, as you know. And a lot of them don't require anything else but the cards that turn up in the wallet. There's normally 18 cards and that's it. But some of them do require a dice, maybe a few counters, as you can see this one does as well. The theme of this game, Banned Books, grabbed me at first because, me being a librarian, a board game or card game about books is immediately attractive. And the theme is this, as the subject of a banned book, so you actually playing the character, a main character in literature, right? That's you. And so as the subject of a banned book, you must take it into your own hands and fight the evil powers that be, which are these three guys up there. Those are, I guess you could say, the book police, who have decided to ban a number of books, including the one that your character is in. So we're taking them on. You know your story better than anyone else because it's your story. So we're going to use some various tactical maneuvers to try and get our book back on the bestsellers list instead of having it being banned and hidden away. Now, a lot of the characters in this game, and you'll see, I'll show you them in a minute, a lot of the characters in this game are actually from banned books, I believe. And so anyway, this is how we set up the game. It's purely for one person, which of course I love. So you do need a couple of counters and a D6 as well. Okay, the powers that be go at the top there, and they represent a lane for each one. Okay, and you'll have a token for you and a token for the powers, because it's a track basically that goes around the card and keeps track of your progress and the powers progress. Okay, the scary man in the suit. Right, so my token's green, the power is red. Okay, so you've got the three lanes. Underneath those three cards are your action cards for the game. You'll only be using 5 cards for the whole game, these ones. And they're flip, progress, stall, heal, and ability. And it's kind of a programming game, I guess. You're arranging those 5 actions in certain configurations. They'll move as you use them to the end of the line, and so you have to prepare for when they're getting them in the right spots for you to do the things that you really need to do. And I'll go through what those actions mean, how they work in a minute. But they sit in lanes like that, and that's very important. And then you will pick a character, and this is the artwork that I love in this game so much. So, as I said, each one of these is a character from a famous piece of literature. Some of them having even been banned, like Bernard here from Brave New World. His book was about banned books. You've got Atticus there from To Kill a Mockingbird. It's not Tom Thumb, it's probably Tom Sawyer. Lenny from Of Mice and Men. Guy from Fahrenheit. Seeley from The Color Purple. Alice, of course, from Alice in Wonderland. I think that's Jerry Maguire. Huckleberry Finn. Look at him, he's fantastic. Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye. Tango, we were a little bit perplexed with, but we think it's Tango, that little fluffy penguin. And I'm actually, you pick one and you play as that character. I love Animal Farm, so I'm playing as Old Major. Okay, your character card has got a track down the side here for your health and a few extra abilities, and each character also has another track at the bottom here, and as you move your token along this track, you're able to perform those special abilities like that. Like Inspire is to shuffle and redeal all of those action cards. And if you can get your token up to the 2, you can spend the 2 to revolt, and you can skip the powers turn. Okay, you have a turn, and then those powers have a turn. Okay, so how does your turn go? And what are you trying to do? You are trying to get at least 2 of your tokens to the end of 2 of those tracks. If you can do that, you win. But if the powers get 2 of their tokens to the end of the track, right to the end here, they win. So, okay, that's an easy trigger to the end of the game. So what you do first, you've got 3 action points. You're given 3 action points at the start of each turn, and you can spend them any way you want on the 3 actions that are available to you at the moment. The 2 off the side there, until they move in here, they're not available to you. So at the moment, this action in lane 1 is going to cost you 1 action point. This action in lane 2 is going to cost you 2 action points, and the action in lane 3 will cost you 3 action points. So you have to be very careful how you distribute those action points. Okay, so flipping, the action to flip. Oh, also, I might mention that you'll notice that each action has a little icon representing the various reasons why books might be banned. So drug references and language, sexual references, violence, and I think that's politics of some kind. Okay, so on your turn, like I said, you spend 3 action points. Now, progress is the action which allows you to move your token around these tracks. In other words, it's like you're finally making some progress on getting through to the powers that be to get your book back on the shelves. So if you take the action here, remember it's in lane 2, so it's going to cost 2 action points. With progress, if you move the actual token that's in the same lane as the action card was, you move it as far as the number that its lane is. So this is lane 2, so I'd be able to move my token up 2. If I wanted to use progress to move one of the other ones of my tokens, I just move them up by 1. But because I'm moving the token in the same lane as the progress card, I get to move it 2. So I've used 2 action points. That's going to the back of the line now. Okay, we put that back in the line and we flip it over, and that's important. I've got 1 action point left. All right, with my 1 action point left, this stall option will cost me 3 action points because it's in lane 3 and I can't use that. Okay, stall would allow me to place a token on top of one of the powers that be tokens so they can't move next time they do get a chance to move. Okay, we've seen progress. Flip will allow me to unflip cards that are face down, and that's very important. So I might actually use. So if I don't want to, if I don't want to use one of the actions that are there available to me, I can use my action points to unflip cards or rearrange cards in an order that I will move one of the cards to the right and slot it in there. In hopefully in preparation to bring it up into my action area as soon as I can or whenever I need to. So for example, I might, if I decide to use, I've got 1 action point left, remember. So if I decide to move flip, let's say in between stall and heal, that I do that because I want flip to come back again, right? Or if I do it, put it here. I don't really need flip to come back again, so I might actually use it as its action and flip all cards that are already face down. So I'll flip that progress again because you can't use the action unless it's face up. So using flip to unflip them is very important. So then after I've used my 3 action points, I slide everything down, and now look, see, stall, heal, and ability is now available to me. Okay, for my next turn. But first the powers get a turn. Right, so I roll the dice. Okay, and I've rolled a 1, which is probably the worst roll you could possibly get. Let's say I rolled a 3. Okay, let's say I just rolled a 3. All right, first thing you do, you subtract every one value for every card that you've got that is face down. I've got one face down card, so I subtract. So this becomes a 2 now. Okay, so now I've rolled a 2. You go up to the powers that be. Where does the 2 fit in? It doesn't fit in here, but it definitely fits in between here and there. See, that's a 1 or a 2, and a 1, 2, or a 3. So it fits in both of those, which means both of those powers will move up 1. All right, so there's the race has begun, right? I'm in front here, he's in front here, we're equal over here. Now, the last thing you have to check, when the powers do move, only if they move. Old Major has got a reason why he was banned, and it's the political reason. You can see the icon here. If that icon is showing in any of your cards out here, which it is here on the ability card, I have to lose a health. So I'm down to 2 already, which is a problem. Okay, the heal action will allow me to heal 1 point of health, which is really important, because if I get down to 0, I lose the game. Okay, so that's what the heal action does. And the ability action, that's the last one we haven't looked at yet. Using this action will allow you to move this special ability token along the ability track. So you can move the token or actually cash in the points to perform that ability. So that's pretty important as well. Let's do another turn to see how we go. Okay, stall. The stall action is in the lane 1, so that's only costing me 1 action point to do. So I might actually take that stall action, right? And it goes to the bottom, to the end, flips over. I take my stall token, and now I can place that on one of the powers tokens to stop it from moving. And this guy's moving fairly quick, so I might place it on top of... Oh, it's hard to do this with one hand. There we go. Okay. So even if they do move like you saw last time, that power won't move. What I do is I take the stall token off. And so he can move next turn, but at least I stop him for 1 turn. So I've used 1 action point with stall. The heal is going to cost me 2 action points. All right, I've got 2 left, so I might use the heal. Put it to the end. And I'll heal by 1 here, Old Major. Okay, good Old Major. Right, I've used all 3 action points. These shift over like that. So now we've got ability is costing 1, progress is costing 2. This is flipped, so I've got to find a way to unflip that, either by the flip action or by not using my actions here and using them to unflip cards. So yeah, that perhaps wasn't the best thing to do, because I've only got 2 actions available to me now. And remember, I'm going to roll now for the powers turn. And I have to subtract one for every card that's face down. So whatever I roll, I've got to subtract 3, which is a huge problem. So I've rolled 4. All right, minus 3 is 1. Okay, it's 1. And 1 fits into every single one of the powers, areas. 1, 1 to 2, and 1, 2, and 3. So that means every single power will move. This one won't, because I've put a stall token on him. So I take the stall token off. Thankfully, he doesn't move. But, okay, how are we going here? I'm 1 behind on this track. We're equal on this track. Haven't even got started here on this track. Let's have 1 more turn. And then we'll look at some of the abilities and finish up there. Okay, I've got a problem here because there's too many of my actions are flipped. So what I might do on this turn, I might spend the ability, which this in lane 1, it's going to cost me one action point. I'm going to use the ability action to start moving on my ability track. So I've got 1 point there of special actions, and I can, next time I use ability, I can now spend that 1. Where'd that go? Right. I can spend that 1 to do that, shuffle and redeal the action cards, which is really handy. I just collect all these up and shuffle them and redistribute them, and might get lucky that way. Or if I continue to move along that track, I'm going to be able to spend 2 and skip the powers turn, which is going to be really important later in the game. Okay, I've spent 1 action point by doing the ability. I'm going to spend my last 2 points by flipping over some of these cards. Otherwise, I'm going to get smashed by the die roll. So I might flip over the. I could use my last 2 points to progress, because that's the only way I can get my tokens to move around a track. Do I take another hit here? I wonder. Or should I flip? I think I need to flip. So what I'll do is I've got 2 action points, which means I can unflip 2 cards, which is probably those 2, and then we move down. That's good. Progress is only going to cost me one point next time, which is really good. Right, powers that be have their turn. Right, I'm minusing 2, okay, because I've got 2 cards face down. I've rolled oh yeah, great, 2. All right, so that means all of them are going to move. That one, and he's moving as well up there. So I'm not doing too well. And because they moved, and Old Major's guess what? Old Major's political symbol is not showing, so I don't lose any health. Okay. I love this game so much. I'm going to have one more turn because I want to progress. So I'm going to use 1 action point to progress and move him up 1. I'm going to use the other 2 action points to flip everything. Okay, so let's flip everything back. And that's really handy because now I won't be subtracting anything from the die roll when the powers have their turn. Okay, and then I've used all my 3 action points, so move them up. So I hope you can see how this is going. Let's have the powers turn. Okay, I've rolled a 4. 4 doesn't fit in any of their value ranges. Okay, so that's a fantastic roll because they're not going to move, and neither am I going to lose any health, even though Old Major's political symbol is showing. Right, so that's a real lucky roll there. And I've got all of these actions now ready to go again. 1 for stall, 2 for heal, 3 for the ability, which would be really cool to use now because I've got a few ability points there to start impacting these powers, these dirty, rotten powers that be. I hope you can see how this game goes because this is super strategic. That balance of when do you give up an action to spend the action points, unflipping cards or redistributing cards. As I said, if you don't use action points, you can actually place these cards in other spots, and so you could bring them up to the front a lot quicker. I love the stall action to stop the powers that be in their tracks for a little while to give you a bit of breathing space. Also, I love the actions here on each of your characters. Really, to consistently win this game, you really have to get into these abilities and affect the game that way. It's a lot of planning ahead. It's a lot of programming. It's pretty thinky, and it'll burn your brain a little bit. But if you enjoy that, if you really feel like that experience, it's a fantastic solo game, as I hope I've demonstrated. These characters, as I said, their abilities are really interesting. Okay, look at Tom Sawyer's ability on 3 there. Restart your turn. You can spend 3 to place a stall token on your stamina so that you don't lose any health. Lenny's allows you at 1 to forget. This is what I love. Tom Sawyer's ability is called Parole, Vitality. Lenny's got Forget and Strength. Alice is Express and Escape. Seeley is Independence, Rebirth. It's all beautifully thematically connected. Huge props to Jason for getting all those little details right. And as you read all these names of abilities, they fit beautifully with their character. Old Major is Revolt. Okay. So Lenny, Forget. Take the action of any face down card. Remember your actions here. You can't take any actions if it's face down, but Lenny allows you to do that with his special ability. Alice actually says, look at her number 3 ability. She allows you to eliminate a power card from the game once per game. So if you could juice up Alice to 3, you can affect those powers really well. So that's banned books. Please, Jason, reprint this one. Get it back for us so more people can get into this. It's a great game. Hope you enjoyed the review. See you guys.